Hi, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request for Marv B. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, tier lists, rankings, reviews, re-reviews, thought streams, commentaries, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. It could be pretty much any type of video, so thank you. Really do appreciate it. And this is for Bounty Tracker, 1993 film, which it took me a bit to realize within 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, I've seen this film before. I remember liking it, and I did like the film. I still like it. It stars Lorenzo Lamas. Now, Lorenzo Lamas is a guy that I did not grow up with. I had heard of course. He was on the TV show Renegade, which I never did see, but I know of it. But throughout the years, I've seen a couple of his films, and I would still say my favorite is one he did called Bad Blood, which that'd be nice to revisit one day. I remember pretty action-packed finale that had a lot of like two guns blasting type of action. And the Snake Eater films are fun for what they need to be. I remember enjoying those three. This is apparently one of his better films. So I don't know, maybe I've seen the best of the best of Lorenzo Lamas with the Snake Eater trilogy, Bad Blood, and this one. Maybe if I see others, it's all downhill from there. I don't know. But it's directed by Kurt Anderson, who did Martial Outlaw, which is a film I remember not minding with Jeff Wincott. He was also, from what I understand, with the Brian Bosworth film One Man's Justice, aka One Tough Bastard. Kurt Wimmer, who would go on to do Equilibrium with Christian Bale, he started directed it. Then, for one thing or another, he got fired. And this guy actually took over and directed the rest of the film. Most of the film, so. And that's Kurt Anderson. Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but that's from what I read up on. Now, Lorenzo Lamas, I thought he's actually a pretty decent actor. He's got, the right look. Nice looking ponytail with long hair. He's a decent actor. I think he's a pretty decent actor. His martial arts are pretty good, especially his kicks. He gets some nice ways sweeping someone's legs off of them, or some nice high kicks, side kicks. He's pretty good. I mean, he's not, for me, Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he's pretty damn capable in terms of martial arts, in terms of a fighter. He's got a good look and presence to him. So, I've really grown to like Lorenzo Lamas. I would say, as of right now, I am a fan of his. And this film, it's fun. It's 90 minutes long. It doesn't feel too long of a stretch before another fight scene or action scene happens. I do wish the finale was a much bigger deal. I thought the finale, it kind of looked like they ran out of money or something. I don't know, it's not as epic or as grandiose as it could have been. I think there could have been a lot more bad guys, a lot more gunplay, among other stuff. Maybe just some of the Snake Eater films, like Snake Eater 3, I remember having a bit of that, and Bad Blood especially, but it was still fun. Matthias Hues plays your villain, who was the villain in I Come in Peace with Dolph Lundgren. And the plot's very simple. Lorenzo Lamas, he's a bounty hunter. We see him do a job at the club at the beginning, which I'll get to that in a few minutes. He gets enough money, he wants to go over to LA to see his brother. His brother is part of this accounting firm that another person there was money laundering for this criminal who is now in jail, and this other person is going to be a state witness. Well, that criminal in jail has hired some killers, mercenaries, however you want to put them, led by Matthias Hues, who's got a crew. One of them is this lady, I forget her name. And pretty much they go in and they wipe out the whole firm. The brother escapes. Lorenzo Lamas gets there. He sees his brother and the guy's pregnant wife. The bad guys come in, wants to kill everybody except Lorenzo Lamas. Lamas, of course, wants revenge. He goes around using his bounty tracking skills, looking for this tattoo that one of the bad guys had. Leads him to see this guy who's in a wheelchair, who has this youth center with some younger teens who used to be gang members but trying to go the straight and narrow path. Eventually that guy gets killed. Those three teens want to know what's up with Lorenzo Lamas. Ultimately they figure what's going on. Those three join up with Lorenzo Lamas, and then they look for Matthias, Hues, and his crew, and then you get this third act in this junkyard. The good guys win, the bad guys lose, and that's how it used to be. God damn it! Make movies fun again. Instead of make movies great again, make movies fun again, for fuck's sake. God damn it. Now, I know I ran through the plot, it may seem like I spoiled things, but to be honest, when you go into films like these, more than likely the plot's going to be average, some would say generic, some would say typical, but it's all in the execution of fun. What do you want out of this? You get a cool, good guy, you get a tough bad guy like Matthias Hues. He's a big guy who knows how to do martial arts. A decent amount of little action bits, nothing earth-shaking or anything. The best one is definitely in this dojo, which I'll get to that in a few minutes. And you just have a good time. Like, this is a movie you would rent at the video store, you go in, 90 minutes go by, oh, I had a decent enough good time. You bring the videotape back and you see what else there is to rent at the store. And even with that, like the way these films looked back in the day, whether it be from Canon Films, whether it be from PM Entertainment Films, films like this, Deadly Outbreak, Just Speakman, because they shot on film, because of a certain way it's filmed, they still have that tangible feel and look to them that if you watch an action film that goes straight to streaming nowadays, it doesn't. It looks too digital, because it is, clean, but it looks like cheap. Like cheap, not I don't want to say camcorder, but just, I just like a digital camcorder. It just, something about it just looks cheaper. I just hate the way some of these films look nowadays. I don't know how to put it. I don't know if it's the lighting, the fact that they don't shoot on film, all this other stuff. It just, the color stock, I hate the way some, especially when it goes like straight to Tubi or streaming, and it just, there's a synthetic look to it that just, more of a distraction, or I can't really put into words that well, but maybe because I'm so used to the way films used to look, that when I see this, it's still like, I remember the way this looks. It's something that you don't really think about until they no longer do it, and then you start missing it. And it is hard for me to put into words on that. And I would say the equivalent of films like this would be like The Beekeeper with Jason Statham, which was a fun one. I know T. Hoi Kwan, short round from Temple of Doom. He's in a film called Love Hurts, which I think at this point bombed at the box office, completely failed. People didn't like it. I didn't see it, didn't get a request for it, so I don't know. I know Jason Statham has a film called Working Man. I didn't see the trailer. Because I look forward to it, but hell, The Beekeeper kind of showed a lot of the good bits of the trailer, so I'd rather say that for if I ever do watch that movie and be surprised. Nobody, like, those are the films of today. Granted, they have much more bigger budgets compared to these. But OT, like, films that go straight to, like, I guess, maybe Scott Adkins, or Life After Fighting with Brent Foster, which should get a physical release in the US. It's bullshit it hasn't. One More Shot with Scott Adkins, stuff like that. So they're out there. It's just a lot harder to find them. Now, to get back to this one, the only issues I have with it, again, the plot's average, but I could deal with that, is when the third act, or before the third act, when these three teenagers join Lorenzo Lamas, I mean, they're fine. Perhaps they did that to try to make it a bit different, instead of just a one-man army revenge mode. But I don't know if a lot of people would see this and go, man, I love those teenagers, because they're not really that developed. You don't really get to know much about them. It's just they knew the guy in the wheelchair, and they think Lorenzo had something to do with it. Then they just join. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of scenes where you really get Lorenzo Lamas bonding with these three, or learning their story, learning their past, having maybe eccentric or quirky personalities, or certain traits that you find cute or funny or entertaining. They're just kind of there. And then, even at the end of the film, it's either they shoot one of the bad guys, or to get a third guy out from this car that's ready to be crushed. And I don't really know why they're in there. I don't really know why they were put into the script, into the screenplay. Like I said, I wasn't bothered by them. Well, I was bothered by them. That's bullshit. I didn't hate them. It doesn't ruin the movie for me. It just makes me go, I don't think you really needed these guys. And again, the third act, like, take those three out and just have more bad guys. Have Lorenzo Lamas shooting bad guys and squibs, or taking bad guys out, or get some more fisticuffs and taking these guys out one by one. Maybe they thought, well, it'd be more realistic since he can't do it by himself. But it's an action film. I mean, I think people will let that go. But anyway, get back to the film. Get more into spoilers. The beginning is pretty kind of funny, because he's on a bounty. He goes to a club that has all black people, and he dresses like a nerd, and he's trying to have this fake British accent. So he goes to the bathroom, and he has this canteen that will let out smoke, and he puts it in the garbage. The reason being, he pulls the fire alarm, and everybody leaves. I guess he assumes that his bounty will stay, and everybody else is cleared out, and it'll be easier to do that. But even when I first saw this, I always thought that was a weird plan, because what if the bounty left with the group? Fuck this, I don't deal with fire. Fuck fire. Okay, if it's a fire crotch, I'll deal with, but I don't want to deal with the damn fire. And then he left, and then his bounty left. And that'd be funny if Lorenzo Lamas comes in and goes, and then it cuts to like the wide shot where there's nobody there, and he goes, shit. Like, that'd be funny that he screws up, but thankfully, the bounty is the one of two guys, him and his buddy, bodyguard, whatever, the only two people left in there. Like, how did he know that? How did he know that? It is what it is. That was a bit weird. But you do get a fight scene. Fun little scene to start it off. Uses a fire extinguisher as a weapon. Fights these two guys. Again, he's good with his movements. His kits definitely tell he's been trained. And, nothing amazing, but still fun to see. That's the way to start off. And he gets the bounty for that, and that's where he's going to go to LA. Like I said, yeah, the accounting firm. When Matthias, Hues, and his crew goes in and kill everybody, you do get squibs. Which are... It's sad. I mean, I've talked about this before in other videos, but I've had people ask me what a squib is. Which is, you take a little bit of thing, and you put maybe a little bit of fake blood and stuff in there, and you put it in under the clothing, whatever, and then when it explodes... So I just want to be under... Well, it explodes. It made it seem like you've been shot. They used to do that all the time with movies. Well, either you see nothing, they fall down, or like this, you would see the gunshots, the squibs. It worked so much better than CGI. And there's a lot of films I love that still use CGI squibs. John Wick films, for example. That maybe they deem it more safer or more comfortable. But at the same time, you can make it safe and comfortable if you do the job right. And it will look much, much better on film, digital how you're filming it, and it will last longer. It won't look goofy or won't look, oh, that CG in your mind, even for an instant, is taken out of the escapism you're trying to enjoy. And for some reason, they still cannot understand that. I don't get that. Unless they really did run out of people that knew how the fuck to do it, which are the way talent is nowadays in Hollywood. Maybe they did. Just who the fuck nowadays would know how to make a squib? So it's a shame. And you say budget, it's not like these films having a much more budget than this film. Let's be honest with that. And Matthias Hues, I mean, always liked him ever since I first saw him in That Covered Piece. He makes for a good villain. He was also the villain in No Retreat, No Surrender 2, among other movies. And again, interesting that a big guy like that also knows a bit of martial arts. He manhandles these two cops, fucking throws them around like rad dolls. Like I said, at least with this movie, it doesn't take too long for another action scene to happen. Now, there are no car chases. There's really no big explosions or anything. So, you may be wanting a bit more action or different types of action. Because, yeah, there's not really any car chase. Yeah. It's really just either gunplay or fisticuffs. But again, like when they break into his brother's house, he's able to do some nice side kicks, and you beat a few people up there, shoots another person. I forgot that the brother, his wife, was pregnant. Until he mentioned it, I went, oh shit, they killed a pregnant wife. And they didn't really center in on it. It's kind of like she got killed and then moved on, but it's like, goddamn. She was pregnant? Shit, like, I forgot that was the thing in this. Shows they don't fuck around. Just fuck around, find out. That's what bad guys did back in the day. Because they were bad guys. They were evil guys. They were terrible guys. Because guess what? Terrible guys exist in the fucking world. It's not, well, it's a gray area and they're kind of bad, but well, we feel sorry for them. No, sometimes there's some evil motherfuckers who need a bullet in the head, in the brain. So that's when Lorenzo, he's the only survivor, and he looks for this tattoo. I do like the line. It's a line you've heard plenty of times. But the tattoo guy goes, hey, money talks, bullshit walks. It was just nice to hear that at the end, because I haven't heard that saying in a long ass time. And it leads him to this guy in a wheelchair who I just used to know the bad guys, but he's on the straight and narrow path. And he has his youth center. I recognize the actor as Judd Omen. I'm like, why does this guy look familiar? I'm like, this guy in the wheelchair, he was the mayor in Doll Man. Granted, it's a bit part, but he was also in Red Dawn, the original. He was the Nicaraguan captain. Like, no wonder he looks familiar. So yeah, Red Dawn and Doll Man I remember him from. And he doesn't want to help. He wants to just let it be. But Lorenzo gets some info, leads him to his dojo. And this is easily the best scene in the movie. It's the best fight scene in the movie. Leo Lee, who was in The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speechman. That was the scene where he asked Jeff, or tells Jeff, let's fight, no protection. And then Jeff Speedman goes, no problem. He was also in Kung Pao as the young Master Pain. Where, if you don't know Kung Pao, like they took old footage of a movie, a kung fu movie, and then the director put himself in as the star, and it's a hilarious film. And there's the guy who is the villain within this old kung fu movie. But they show a flashback, and they need a younger version, and that's Leo Lee. So this guy here owns his dojo, and he's working with Matthias Hues, and he sits his men on him, and it's the best fight scene in the movie. It seemed like this had a bit more time to flow. It's definitely a lengthier fight. He's fighting multiple people, at least 4 or 5, and he's doing nice roundhouse kicks and some good punches and kicks over here, sweeping the leg over there, uses a bow, a stick, and beats the shit out of one guy. The main bad guy, or I should say Leo Lee, comes in with 2 swords, and Lorenzo's like, nice jammies, we wake ya. And he gets like this little thin shield to use, not just to block, but also use as a weapon. Nice variety of weapons being used, some nice movements. People seem to know what the hell they're doing. It's not filmed in a janky, shaky cam fashion. Very fun scene. It's, like I said, definitely the highlight of the movie. So, that was a fun scene. That was entertaining. And then, super spoilers. Matthias Hues finds out that the wheelchair guy, where he's at, kills him. The teens find out. They confront Lorenzo Lamas. They join together. And pretty much they get this one guy to talk. Find out where the bad guys are meeting the crime boss who's just gotten out of jail. Because Matthias Hues and them have eliminated the witnesses, so there's no one they can't hold the criminal in. And then you get this last bit in the junkyard. And like I said, that could have been a lot more to it. It just felt, again, it felt as if they ran out of budget or time or something, because it just felt very truncated. There's not a lot of bad guys there. One of them was in the trunk, got himself locked in, and is trapped in a car, and the other 2 guys have to save him. One of them shoots one guy with a shotgun. And then, pretty much, Lorenzo Lamas, there's the evil lady, which I forgot, that was another thing, where they had a little bit of a excursion of gunplay in his hotel room, where they're going back and forth, shooting guns, and then Lorenzo Lamas escapes. So there's that little bit of action I forgot to talk about. But kind of they go back and forth a little bit in the fight, and then he knocks her out. Then later when she gets back up, and Lorenzo saves the teens by shooting her. And then he did a fight with Matthias Hues, which is a decent fight. It was a decent fight. Just some nice hits in, some roundhouse kicks, things of that nature. But again, I wish in this junkyard there was a lot more gunplay, action, maybe explosion here and there. Maybe one of these cars gets shot up and they explode. Maybe a lot more bad guys. Like they free the teen, then the 3 teens have guns, and then have Lorenzo Lamas have guns, and the 4 of them take on these bad guys, and the 3 teams are using teamwork, because one helps out the other while Lorenzo Lamas... It just should be like a lot more bad guys, a lot more body count. Just like a lot of these action films, even in this direct-to-video era, where you had a much bigger finale. It just felt too small of a finale. I wouldn't say like a finale of a TV show episode, but I just I just remember when I first saw it, I was being a bit disappointed with it. But the fight with Matthias Hues is decent. I do like the way he gets killed, where Lorenzo Lamas kicks, and there's this thing where there's like these little spikes on the side, so Matthias Hues just pushed back to this, and his head's impaled. I thought that was at least a bit different way to end the film, different way to kill the bad guy. But I just felt as if they had one budget, maybe they got budget taken away or something else happened. They couldn't use it in the finale. I don't know. But everything's fine. Lorenzo Lamas, I guess, is going to stay in LA. I guess he's going to do more bounty tracking there. I don't know. And then you have like this weird final shot. Bit awkward. Where he says bye to the three. He's walking. Some guy goes, "Hey, I need some help." "Oh yeah, go talk to that guy." And then he turns and he just stands there for a bit. Then it cuts to black. I thought that was a bit awkward, where he's kind of like, "Oh yeah, talk to that guy." Credits. Just something about that was a bit weird. Like maybe if it was like one of the teens doing this and he does like this and freeze frame or does maybe like this, and once he finishes that salute that it cuts to credits. I don't know, just some. I think there's a better way. I know it's a little stupid nitpick detail, but I just thought it was a bit awkward the way it was done. Maybe that's just me. But I mean, if you like these type of action films, if you like these type of direct-to-video films, it's worth a look. It's fun. Like I said, nothing about the plot of the story is really going to blow you away. I mean, you may be disappointed there's not a other variety of action, like I said, not car chases or explosions or stuff. There's definitely movies that much more impact, like I Come in Peace, among other films, Daily Outbreak with Jess Speakman. But if you find it, at one point it was on YouTube. I don't know if it is now. I saw another place, but I remember at one point it was on YouTube. You'd give it a look. Again, if you like these type of films, it's a fun time. And it was nice to watch this again. So, there you go. Bounty Tracker. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.